Hi, my name is Lynda Hasseler, and I'm a choral director and professor in the Conservatory of Music at Capital University in Columbus, Ohio. I first met Eric Whitacre in 2004 when we invited him to our campus to be a featured composer for our Contemporary Music Festival. We sang an entire program of his music, and my students and I just loved having the opportunity to rehearse with him and gain insight on his beautiful and expressive music. And ever since then, as you can imagine, I've been chasing after every opportunity to work with him and to rehearse and perform his music. So when he contacted me and asked if I would say a few words about a couple of things that I might do if I were rehearsing this piece, I was overjoyed to have the opportunity. I love rehearsing choral music, and I miss having that opportunity. So the chance to do that right now with you virtually in my living room is a great gift. So thank you, Eric. The challenge for me is narrowing down what I want to say and not saying too much, and to keep you interested. So the things that I want to focus in on are these: sung, not spoken. It's all the same vowel. In the beginning was the word, and the expression lies in the contrast. And I'll just touch briefly on each one of those and hope that maybe someday I can unpack them more with you. So that yawn space is the way I know best to get at sung, not spoken. When we speak, we tend to shorten the space inside and not have those tall, spacious vowels that are connected like we do when we sing. So let's very quickly just first yawn. In a group of people, I find that's a very contagious thing to do. And when we yawn, we immediately feel the space form in the back, and the soft palate raises, and that spaciousness creates a cathedral for our own sound. Then let's yawn. Breathe in through a yawn and sigh briefly. Which is a very natural, free, on-the-breath sound. And now we're going to add to that a little bit. Breathe in through the yawning space and start that sigh a little higher and sustain it. Breathe in. Again, a very natural sound, a natural thing to do, which really gets at the essence of singing, which is released tone on the breath. And then lastly, let's swoop up as high as your voice will comfortably go, a little like a siren, and see how that feels. And when you siren out the sound, make sure that you keep your rib cage expanded and lifted. Breathe in through that yawn. Feels good and it's easy, and that kind of approach can really help you, especially in the places where you feel maybe like the range expands a little for you. Practice a couple times making that yawning sound and maybe even saying the word that has those higher notes in that yawn space, and see if that will help you. Secondly, that idea of it's all the same vowel. Again, when we speak, we're rather percussive and we separate the vowels and we tend to shorten them, and we blend any combined vowel sounds in whatever our language is. For singing, we sustain the vowels and we want them to be pure, a pure sound. We refer to the Latin vowels usually as those, there are not diphthongs. So in the vowels in the order of oo, e, o, e, a, you can say them, and notice I have got that yawn space in the back when I say them. We're going to put that in a warm-up that has repeated pitches, which also helps us develop our sense of pitch. And singing to the center of pitch is, again, one of the key components of beautiful choral music. The warm-up goes like this. You can practice that, and then you can go up by half step and keep maintaining that lovely space of the yawn and the soft palate lifted, and think that all the vowels move right into the next vowel. And you see that I have my lips are slightly forward because the singer sort of expressiveness has a little bit of that, not tension in the face, but everything is slightly rounded forward. So then you can do things like look at the vowels of the first phrase of the music and leave out the consonants and sing just the vowels, and see how well you can connect those vowels in a beautiful open space sound. And suddenly, not suddenly, but with our effort, we have a sung sound where all of those beautiful vowels are connected. And then we go back in and lightly superimpose the consonants on that. And we've got this lovely lyrical phrase that gets at the beauty of this piece, which for me is a gentle, nurturing message. A little like if we weren't distanced from each other, when we talk to one another and in the midst of a conversation, reach out and touch someone on the arm. I feel like this piece is touching us in that way. Okay, so moving on to, in the beginning was the word. All right, so now we sing these beautiful vowels, and we now need to string those words up in a phrase. And every sentence of text in here is a phrase set beautifully by Eric. So it's our job to find where that phrase goes, to sing to that peak and to taper. And that's really how we experience life, with a build up and a resolution. And so all good phrases are like that. So now I'll just sing that first phrase again, and I'll honor that forward motion. And then I'm also going to add in syllabic stress. Eric calls it push-pull in his introduction to the music. With my choirs, I have them use their hand, and we call it our syllabic stress hand. And the emphasized syllable, the stressed syllable, is out, and the de-emphasized syllable is toward their heart. And it tapers like that. So in that first phrase, we've got together, always. As we go through the piece, we have words like gently, singing, music. And there's something very satisfying about attentiveness to syllabic stress in choral ensembles. And as Eric mentioned in one of his videos also, that kind of sensitivity really can be heard even when you have 20,000, 30,000 voices singing together. So I suggest you find all of those multiple syllable words and practice emphasizing the first syllable and de-emphasizing. You may not want to do the gesture on your video, but it really helps you get that kind of emphasis inside of you, so that the meaning of the words comes out into the music. So I'll try it. So I'm also going to build the phrase. The first two notes are going to belong to the word sing, and I'm going to try to build a little and taper. And it's all very sensitive because the dynamic is piano. May we sing together always. And you notice that I still did syllabic stress on always, but it was closer to me because the dynamic was tapering. So my whole phrase went like this. And then I would tell you that in the bigger picture, to that final thing, that the expression lies in the contrast. I believe this whole piece is this beautiful arch and taper, or sometimes I call it rainbow phrasing. It starts very gently with this hope that we can all have a sense of our togetherness in the midst of this distancing, and it builds, and then it asks us to be strong in the midst of this, strong together. And then we find that strength by being one together, and the music expands on this beautiful tall vowel on the ah of one, and then it beautifully tapers back to that piano and to that gentle message and that unison on one. So that's my way of saying, really urging you to follow the dynamics, piano, pianissimo, the crescendos, and when the music says to taper, try to stay expanded in that rib cage, increase the breath energy, but allow the music to get softer. Don't worry about it being perfect. If you sense that you're going to run out of air, take a breath. Try not to put a consonant on. I suggest skipping a note, or in the middle of a long note, take a silent breath and come back in, because you know what? Thousands of people are going to cover you there. That's the point of singing together, is we can do things as a group of singers that it's much more and maybe impossible to do as one person. Again, a really beautiful symbolism in this piece. I wish I could explore all that more with you, but I have certainly loved this time that I have had with you. And I want to share with you one last thing. Before my singers go on stage to sing a concert, the last thing I say to them, and I've been doing this for 30 years with them, is I say the words, "Sing pretty." And that's what I say to you. I'm not saying sing perfect. Of course, do your best to sing what's on the page, but think of this as a contribution and a gift that you're giving to the world, and less about the stress of how to get it right. By committing to your message and singing it many times before you record and living with it, I believe that is going to be the most meaningful for you, and the message that you're offering will also become a part of you. And that's my biggest belief about choral music, is that it changes the world. So thank you, Eric, again, for allowing me to say a few words. And to all of you out there, I say, sing pretty.